Apache. Apache by Heather Kissock and Jordan McGill. The people. The Apache are a group of American Indians that traditionally lived in the mountains and plains of Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Arizona. They moved to these areas in the 1500s from what is now Canada. The Apache are made up of 6 separate tribes. These are the Western Apache, Chiricahua, Mescalero, Jicarilla, Lipan, and Kiowa. In the past, each tribe had its own land. Today, there are about 55,000 Apache in the United States. Most live on reservations in New Mexico, Arizona, and Oklahoma. Apache Homes. Wickiups. In the past, the Apache lived in wickiups. A wickiup was a dome-shaped house. It was made of tall saplings that were bent and pushed into the ground to make a frame. Tree bark or woven rushes were laid over the frame to make the walls. Teepees. When the Apache went hunting, they lived in teepees. These cone-shaped tents were made of long poles and animal skins. Teepees were easy to put up and take down. This helped the Apache move quickly when they were following animal herds. Apache Clothing. Buckskin clothing. In the past, women wore buckskin dresses, and men wore leather shirts and breechcloths. These were small strips of material that covered the body below the waist. Later, both men and women began wearing clothing made from cotton. Jewelry. Traditionally, the Apache used shells, wood, and parts of animals to make beads for necklaces and other jewelry. After Europeans arrived in the area, the Apache began using glass beads. Headwear. Most Apache men wore wide headbands to keep sweat out of their eyes. Some men wore deerskin caps instead. Decoration. The Apache often decorated their clothing. They would add fringes and beading to their dresses and shirts. Moccasins. The Apache wore moccasins on their feet. These slipper-like shoes were made from soft leather. Some Apache wore boots made from leather as well. Hunting and gathering. Most Apache hunted their food when they first moved to the southern United States. Other Apache farmed the land and grew their own food. When the crops were harvested, they would begin to hunt as well. Agave. Agave was a staple of the Apache diet. The plant was roasted for days before it was eaten. Berries. Women picked a variety of berries. These were eaten fresh or dried for later use. Bison. Bison was the Apache's main meat source. The meat could be roasted, boiled, eaten raw, or dried for later use. Corn. Corn was a major part of the Apache diet. It was eaten on its own or put in breads. Sap. Sap from box elder trees was mixed with shavings from the inside of animal hides. This made a sweet candy. Acorns. The Apache ate the acorns of gamble oaks. Tea was made from the tree's bark. Apache tools. Bows and arrows. The Apache used materials from nature to make many tools. Bows and arrows were made from wood. Rock was chipped down to make arrowheads. The bowstring was made from animal sinew. Shields. The Apache carried shields to protect themselves from enemies. The shields were made from bison hide. They were often painted and decorated with sacred objects. Apache ideas. To store water, the Apache would line a basket with pinon gum. This made the basket waterproof. Moving from place to place. Walking. In the past, the Apache walked from place to place, even when traveling long distances. Once Europeans brought horses to North America, the Apache quickly started to rely on horses for transportation. Travois. When walking, the Apache used travois to move their goods from place to place. A travois is a type of sled. At first, dogs were used to pull travois. Later, the Apache used horses. Apache ideas. Horses could pull more weight than dogs, so the Apache began building bigger teepees. Some were up to 24 feet high. When dogs pulled travois, the teepees were about half that size. Apache music and dance. Dance. Dancing played an important role in Apache life. Dances were performed in honor of important events. Some Apache girls performed the sunrise dance. This dance signaled a passage into adulthood. It also prepared the girl for a long and healthy life. Singing and drumming played an important role in Apache ceremonies. Shamans sang and drummed to protect and heal people. Why bat hangs upside down? One day, Coyote decided that it was time to find a wife. He did not know who his wife should be, so he asked Bat for help. Bat remembered that Hawk had disappeared a while ago, leaving his wife behind. He suggested that Coyote take Hawk's wife as his own. Coyote thought this would be a good idea, but Hawk returned and learned of the plan. He became angry at Bat for giving Coyote this idea. Hawk went to Bat and grabbed him. Lifting Bat from the ground, Hawk tossed him into some nearby bushes. Bat landed upside down in the bush, grasping its branches. From this day on, bats have been known to hang upside down, even when they are sleeping. Apache art. Baskets. Apache women were known as skilled basket makers. They wove baskets out of willow branches. Large baskets called granaries were used to store grain and vegetables. Pottery. Apache pottery was used to carry and store items. The pots were often painted with patterns and symbols that were important to the Apache. Activity. Try making this traditional Apache dessert. You'll need berries, corn syrup or sugar, cornstarch, and water. Give it a try. The end.